A very good evening, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're joining us all around Australia, all around the world. In fact, just have a look at what a lovely day we're serving up for you in southwest Sydney. This is round number 3 of the Nationwide Tracking Systems V8 Super Series, the Melbourne Hydrographix Depot 150 from Oran Park, of course, a place so near and dear to so many of our hearts. Now no longer with us, of course. What you see there before you is pre-2010, pre-housing estate era there. And long live the legacy of this place through the famed platform that is iRacing. Hi, everyone. Zach Cabin and Chris Kisby with you. Welcome to our live and exclusive coverage here on SimShed Broadcasting and Real Sim Racing Australasia of the Melbourne Hydrographix Depot Oran Park 150. What a race we're in for here tonight, of course. 2 different winners in the opening 2 rounds of the season thus far. Let's wait and see if we'll be adding to that growing list tonight or not. Chris Kisby is alongside me. The power's back on in Tasmania at long last. Mate, great to have you on board. looking forward to this race for so many reasons. I mean, we've got 7.5 minutes of qualifying left to go here. Matty Davis will be coming by soon, hopefully to take you for a lap of the Oran Park circuit. But when you look at this circuit, it's narrow, it's tight, it's technical, it's short. Only 2.62 kilometres. Should throw up some cracking racing, though.
Oh, it should, mate. I did a few laps around here today in the V8s just to see what it would be like, and I tell you what, I'd rather them driving than me. But yeah, a lot of history on this track, and it's, as you say, sad to see that it's not around anymore. But if you can get your car around here without sliding around, you're doing really, really well, mate.
All right, before we get Matty Davis in to have a chat to us, there are the times that you can see on your screen on the top left-hand corner. We've got 6 minutes 50 to go in qualifying. Lassif Leonage, the number 1 on top at the moment in this session. 1 minute 5.48, 0.28 clear of Cameron Jones. Alex Court's in there as well, only 0.06 of a second behind Jones. Rainer Costello and Chris Ireland make up the top 5. So Jones is there, of course. Cameron won round 1 of the series back when we went to Long Beach in California a couple of weeks ago. Barber Motorsports Park cleaned up by Tom Heyman, but he's getting ready for some real-world stuff, so he's not with us at this point in time. Only 32 starters lining up tonight, but looking forward to it all the same. Excuse me, just a little bit of a frog in the throat, a little bit of a tickle off the top here. I'll try and get it sorted when Matt Davis takes us for a lap of Oran Park. Probably an opportune moment to go through some race stats and also the championship points. Probably the race stats first, actually. There they are on your screen. So a 3 o'clock track server time race start set to today's date, the 23rd, I should say, of February 2021. 26 degrees air temp, 52 on track. That is going to be hot beyond recognition for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. A really stifling hot day in southwest Sydney in Narellan. There are the championship points on your screen. We'll get to them in just a moment. 2.62 kilometres this circuit, 59 laps, race distance around 154 kilometres, give or take. Fuel restriction in these cars, again, an iRacing internal setting, capped at 38% fuel limit, so that's 42 litres. 2 pit stops definitely tonight, and potentially a splash and dash as well. And the 2.2 litre a lap fuel burn number there for you too, important to note. 2 sets of tyres for these drivers, 1 that they'll start on, and then out of the 2 pit stops they come in for fuel, they can choose whether to take tyres on there or not. Championship points, Rainer Costello on top, 299, Cameron Veacock 288, and Cameron Jones 283, with Lassif Leonage just marginally behind there on 282, 279 for Craig Schultz, 272 for Jacob Brewer, 265 for Alan Dawson, Matt Davis, the man that joins us in just a moment, on 254, 252 for Robert Crisdale, and Chris Ireland on 250 makes up the top 10. Matty Davis, good evening to you. Welcome aboard. You're going to take us for a lap of this magnificent 2.62 kilometre circuit in just a moment. But first, let's talk about your own efforts tonight. We weren't too far from going on air here, and you were sitting down there in position number 9. As the times keep coming in, they've bumped you back to 13th, mate, but still going better than what Barber did in terms of qualifying last week. Good evening to you.
It's come to me in the past couple nights, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it goes tonight, Zach. I'm looking forward to a good race with the boys. It's a long race, 59 laps, so yeah, it's going to be hard battling and very, very tight.
And 59 laps around here, I mean, a solid hour plus of racing once you throw in the potential for safety cars, not least fuel stops as well. So it's a very hard, strenuous workout for you guys tonight because you don't really, unless it's the main straight, get a rest around here.
No, exactly right. I mean, it's not many straights at all. Actually, it's the only real straight is the front straight there, and that's the only time to really take a breather and grab a quick drink out of the backpack and keep pushing on through for another lap. So a lot of elevation change through Oran Park. A lot of coming into old circuits where the Grand Prix circuit starts, and it's a very tough track to power these 650 horsepower supercars around.
This is the first of only 2 stops on Australian soil for this championship. No Phillip Island in this championship calendar. We'll have a look at that in more detail in just a moment. But, mate, I'm going to hand it over to you, as we usually do, to talk us through a lap of the 12-turn, 2.62 kilometre famed Oran Park Raceway, a circuit so loved, so revered by so many.
Thanks, guys. Out of the last corner, past the pit lane, up across the start finish line, down the main straight, all the way up into 6th gear. Trickiest braking point, big long trail brake, right out onto the apron out there, back down into 2nd. A burn. Turn it in a little bit early, try not to ride that curb. Easy on the throttle through this, a lot of bumps, a lot of elevation change through here. Quick release of the brake, back on it just to get the car turned in. Ease the power on, click third and stamp on it. Up over the Yokohama Bridge, just a little bit of trail brake to get the car turned in. Squeeze that power on out to the apron, 4th. As I just make a mistake through there. That's not exactly how you want to do a hot lap. You want to come through there in 3rd, click it into 4th. Come out there in 3rd, come through here in 4th. Quick little lift. Ride the curbs, back down into 2nd. Turned it in for the last corner. That's going to be getting pressured by Mr. McNamara in the background. Ease the power on. I'll let him go as he goes to the pits. He's going to the pits. Back up to 6th gear, and that is a lap of Oran Park, and it is full on in qualifying. Zach?
Just goes to show you, ladies and gentlemen, just to prove that we don't have any take twos. There's no dress rehearsals on this. That was live, ladies and gentlemen. It was very nicely done from Matt Davis. Mate, thank you for that. You're doing a great job on Wednesday nights as well with the GAC series, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later. Go well tonight.
Thanks, Zach. Enjoy, guys.
Chris Kisby, again, we say it all the time. There's no take twos, no dress rehearsals here. We go live. We don't prepare any of this before we go on air. We just say what we're going to do and go out and do it. And sometimes it doesn't go to plan, but thankfully Matt was able to keep it on the black stuff there.
Yeah, that's right. And it's the same when I'm doing my driving and commentating as well. Yeah, we're in the cars, we're in the moment. You guys have got storms up there, so we may get some bit of an interruption up through there. But yeah, as you say, it's live. You're here, viewers are here, and we're in for a great race.
Indeed, we are. In fact, speaking of the storms, I've got mates up near Strathpine. Lightning 2, TV nil, Foxtel nil, now bleeped off. So, that doesn't bode well for the rest of us, let me tell you. And of course, JP, the broadcast being produced out of the Sunshine Coast tonight. We're down here in Ipswich, of course. Kisby's down there in Tasmania. So, touch wood, we've got our fingers crossed that we'll be able to bring you all 59 laps here tonight. Closing stages of qualifying, so a lot to get through before we launched into racing here, not least a grid, which we'll get to in just a moment. But first of all, a little bit more info here. We mentioned the track temperatures. Southeasterly winds 22 k's an hour, so strong southeasters on the circuit today. Pace car, should we need it? Well, the internal pace car is set to 72 k's an hour, but obviously we have our own safety car, not the iRacing one for our racing, so that's okay. Pit lane speed 50 kilometres an hour, so it's a long, slow drag down the pit lane here at Oran Park. And the incident penalty count is set to 18x and every 5x thereafter, with one fast repair limit available to the competitors tonight. In recent weeks, it has been 0. So there's a little bit of a change to the regulations for tonight. But looking forward to this one immensely. A bit hard to pick who's going to win this one, Kisby, because when you look at the running order here, you've got two guys within 1800ths of a second of one another. Oh, actually, well, hang on, let's make that less than 200ths of a second, rather. 18 thousandths of a second. Then you've got Cameron Jones and Cameron Veacock, again, similar margin separating them. Alex Cord has about half a tenth over Sean McNamara on the third row. In total, you've got the top 10 all in the 105, separated by half a second on the grid here. And some strong lurkers outside the top 10, desperate to find a way in, which won't be easy.
No, that's true. We were looking at some of the different times there, and the guys are really putting on a show for us. I was just watching Alex and go round, and they had it on edge in some places there.
Indeed they did. Let's have a look at the grid here, and then we might see if we can get a tip out of Kisby. Russell Leonard's the number one on pole position. I think it's his first pole of the season. Rainer Costello's sitting there alongside him in P2. Cameron Veacock is alongside Cameron Jones on the second row, with the latter ahead of the former on the inside of the track there. Then Sean McNamara, Alex Court. Sorry, I'm reading that the wrong way. I've got to go right to left instead of left to right. Force a habit. Alex Cortshaw, McNamara, row 3. Ben Morris, Robert Crisdale, row 4. Jacob Brewer and Chris Ireland, row 5. Then Ash Davis and Lindsay Hobbs from row 6. Row 7, you might notice a little bit of a difference to the graphics as well. How good does the orange flare up? Dean Power, Matt Davis from row 7, Alan Dawson and Michael Imasuria from row 8, Scott McCune and Peter Crossingham from row 9, Brian Cooper and Chris Barnes from row 10. Then Benjamin Siren and Tim Mulford from row 11, Craig Schultz and Wade Michael sit on row 12. Row 13, they just keep on coming. Blake Urquhart and Jason Dibadito. And then we go back to David Leslie and Daniel Schultz. And then Steve Vella, of course, from Melbourne Hydrographix Depot, our naming rights sponsor for this round of the championship. And then Craig Hopkins alongside him. That's row 15. Row 16 is where you'll find Craig Newell and Liam James with Peter Kelly at the back of the grid. We are getting set for start. Round 3 of the NTS Supercar Championship, of course. Now, what we should point out here as far as the Super Series is concerned, we've got some Triple Crown races not too far away. We've got some, we've got an Enduro coming up at the end of this championship as well. But this is the only trip to Australia before the finale when we go to Mount Panorama. Have a look at this. Oran Park is ready to fire. Round 3 of the championship. Green and let's go! Great start from Lasse Leonard. Oh, God, he's like a missile. He's blown the field away on the run out of turn 1. He's just spread-eagled the pack and he's gone. He leads them by 3 lengths going into turn 1. They start to close up in behind him. Cameron Jones down there on the inside. Ripper of a start from him. Got by... who's had a shocker of a start there? Cameron Veacock's had a shocker. He's dropped down 2. Rainer Costello's lost out completely and dropped down 3 spots. Alex Court, Sean McNamara both up 2. And they're still arguing over the same piece of real estate as Costello gets back down on the inside of Court. Up over the bridge for the first time. What a start in Sydney.
Well, there goes my money. He'll come back again. Hey, Rainer will come back again. 59 laps, long way to go. Don't worry about that. Lasse Leonard leads them down through for the first time, turn 9. Rainer Costello, we're right on board with him. Leonard, Jones, Court, Costello, and McNamara are the top 5. So it was Costello that lost out completely at the start line there. That's why Leonard was able to get the whole shot and cleared out. Jones, Court, Costello, then McNamara make up the top 5. Veacock, Morris, Davis. Up 3 spots, Ash Davis, Brewer, Ireland, and then Dean Powell. And a clean start, 2 of 59 in Sydney. Well, we got a slider there.
We ride on board with Costello now. How good's that look? You were sitting on the bonnet there a minute ago, looking into the rear view mirror of Alex Court, of course, who's got his teammate in front at the moment. We're waiting for the NTS team to find their straps and hit their stride. It might be tonight. Court a little bit wide going through, and Rainer Costello ranges up the outside, side by side, and contact through turn 9. What about that? Sean McNamara capitalised that beautifully as they go over the dog leg and down to turn 12. Right, 2 in the books. Oh no, wide goes McNamara. Very lucky to pull it up and not scrape the wall.
That is so hard to do, just not keep it out of there.
Leonage, Jones, Costello, Corton, Beacock, the top 5. Fastest lap of the race for Jones at 106.27. Now look at Ben Morris come down on the inside. He's defending now Ash Davis. Sean McNamara's lost a bunch of places. I'm not sure, maybe Sean McNamara's off the circuit. We'll need to have a look at this. On the simsnap.com iRacing photography replay, this is down towards the first corner. Here's the replay. Uh-oh. I don't like how that looks. Into the gravel. And that was the 2 teammates coming together as well. And into the wall goes McNamara. Can you believe that? And to be fair, Chris, that all started with the lock up at turn 12.
That did. Yeah, it's just the power of these cars. Once you lock them up and then try to get the power back down, if you make one small mistake, that's it, it's gone. And it just keeps sliding.
So Cameron Jones, he's now right up on the tail of Leonage. Rainer Costello third. They've gapped Alex Court. Court, however, has the fastest lap of the race at 105.91. Now, as I was about to say before all hell broke loose there, Court and Leonage finally seem to have hit their stride. Found their straps. They've been a little bit hit and miss in the first couple of weeks. Court especially. We know Leonage was on the podium last week at Barbara, but the NCS team look like they mean business tonight. Lap 4 of 59. Leonage, we're on board with him at the moment, looking out at the back towards Cameron Jones, who he's hoping will stay there for a little bit longer. He doesn't want to let him find a way by just yet. 2 pit stops in this race tonight, and if you can fuel save, you'll do it in 2 stops. If you can't, it's going to be a splash and dash. Jones down the inside going into turn 12. No! Round goes Jones! And he loses 5, 6, 7 places.
Oh,
in all of that. Oh, can you believe this? Already only lap 4.
Oran Park.
Climber at Oran Park. Let's ride on board here. Watch Jones coming up over the dog leg. 10, 11. Down the inside. He wanted to throw it. And then, oh, serious contact, but not enough to send Leonage spinning. I'm not sure whether Jones ran out of room there or he just locked up. I'm not sure, Chris. We'll need another angle of that, I'd say. Yeah,
that's definitely, I just can't see it from that angle there, but he's in the right spot, but whether he, the door was closed on him or he started to drift out a little bit, which caused him a hassle. So we'll just have to wait and see another angle on that one.
So much action already in the first 5 laps. Cannot wait to get stuck into the post-race tonight. That is Jones back there in 8th now on the fight back. Look at Rainer Costello. He's back to where he started. So that bad start has essentially been quashed. He's been able to undo all the bad work there at the start and get himself back onto the tail of Leonage. On the run down the main straight towards turn 1. Does he fancy a look down the inside? He does. Does he go for it through turn 2? Yes, he does. We have a new race leader at Oran Park. Rainer Costello fires it down the inside. Nice clean manoeuvre from the youngster. Have a look at this on the simsnap.com replay. Tim Mulford. And then the run to the first corner for the leaders. Costello down the inside. And Leonage left to follow in second. Court's moved up to third as a result of Jones slipping off the circuit. Vicock, Morris, Davis, Brewer, Jones, Powell and Hobbs make up the top 10.
Wow.
Pretty much.
that's if I tried to pull a move off like that, I'd be just sliding right over. But that was just unbelievable car control.
Oh, unbelievable indeed. That's the only word for it. We're running out of superlatives for this race already, and we're only on lap 6. The end of lap 6 now. Jones down the inside. The fight back begins, baby. Down the inside of Brewer. Drop done. Up into 7th he goes now. Next target, Davis, as they cross the line. But the first 6 have got a gap of about 2.7 seconds. The first 5, I should say. 2.7 seconds back to Davis, and then Davis has less than a second up his sleeve now over Jones, Brewer, Powell and Hobbs. Back we go to McNamara. That off-track excursion cost him 15, 16 positions. He's relegated to 21st. He's in struggle street, but he's now beginning to fight back. Down there on the inside and up into position number 20, finding his way by Steve Vella from the Melbourne Hydrographix depot. And they make their way out of turn 2 on the run towards turn 3 now. So how far can McNamara get back? How desperate is he for a safety car somewhere in this race tonight? In fact, they're all wanting one, Chris, because of the fuel save factor. The need, or the safety car would do away with the need to come in for a splash and dash. They're all hoping for that, but at the moment, tell you what, McNamara's got his work cut out for him.
He certainly has. I mean, the saving grace to this short, sharp track, technical track, is that there's no walls enclosing it, so there's plenty of runoff. And if they do start sliding across, there's plenty of acreage in the middle there that they can get out of the road and across to the outside as well. So chances of a safety car? Well, unless it happens on track and they get stuck in the middle of the black stuff, then it's here or there with that. But unless they competition, do you notice they competition cautions here?
No competition cautions at all, and around they go.
There we go.
The 64 coming into trouble there with McNamara clawing up through on the inside. That was Daniel Schultz running into trouble. But again, as Chris Kisby said, no harm, no foul. He keeps going because of the amount of runoff area here, and it goes right around the circuit as well. It would take a serious bust up at the last corner, I'd say, because that's where the wall is literally right there to trigger a safety car at the moment. We just don't have the need for that. Jones looking down on the inside now on Ash Davis. He's caught him, but he can't find a way by just yet.
Just getting back onto that, the amount of skill to keep that car out of the road with everybody else and not causing a hassle is unbelievable, even for that. Here we got someone coming in from the pits. Oh, was that a touch?
Oh, it almost was indeed. Cameron Jones wanting to give Davis the hurry up here. I tell you what, I don't envy race control tonight. Jones finds it down the inside of turn 3. Nicely done, but maybe a little bit too polite on Davis's part there. He basically just opened the door and said, come on through.
Yeah, there's a lot of chatter in the background with race control. I tell you, there's that they are having to do a lot of work.
Double-edged sword, essentially, that was, Chris, because if he didn't give way, it would have ended in tears. So he had no choice but to concede and just say, righto, you want it more than I do, why you go?
Yeah, well, we often say that, it's not won in the first 10 races. So if you've got to look at it from a driver's point of view, you've got to look at it, though, okay, if I fight for this position now and I have an accident, it's going to cost me 10 laps. Or if I back off, let him go through, I'm still with him at the end of the race to actually have a go. But if he loses it...
Whoa. It's under serious pressure there from Michael Limasuria. Oh, everywhere you look tonight, folks, it's almost like we need the 7 mega wall to keep up with everything. It's extraordinary what's unfolding here. So let's have a look at Micah, the 19.
Wow.
It's P2 in the Australian Karting Championship last year in Cadet 12. In fact, I had the privilege of calling him in action at the Queensland Karting Championship last year in Cadet 12. The guy can steer. There's no doubt about that. He's taking it to the young guns here tonight. Now, of course, Cadet 12 is for karters 12 and under. So that gives you an indication of just how young they're starting in sim racing land. It's quite extraordinary, and Chris, you know, being on the senior side of things within the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, the scope we've got in terms of age range, simply phenomenal, and that's reflected here on this grid, especially with Michael Limasuria.
Oh, mate, if we had Micah and Aiden in the same race, mate, it would absolutely... Their ages doesn't come up to most of people's ages in the race. Combined doesn't come up to most ages in the race. I mean, and the young Aiden's 10, and he's racing with the big boys now. And young Micah, look at that, racing there with the big guys. Unbelievable talent coming through the ranks.
Certainly is. I tell you what, let's take this opportunity while we can catch our breath. We're watching Jacob Brewer here sitting in 8th. He's under tremendous pressure from Dean Powell, and he's got Ash Davis just up the road. Let's ride on board with him and crank up the volume as they head down the main straight. How's that for a quick lap? They go nice and fast at Oran Park with Jacob Brewer round onto the main straight now. 12 gone. We're on 13. Good to have you covered wherever you're shooting in around Australia. Facebook, YouTube, take your pick. Tuesday Night Motorsport for SimShed Broadcasting and Real Sim Racing Australasia. Craig Schultz sitting there in 19th at the moment. He's chasing Steve Vella, the Melbourne Hydrographix depot. Entry, of course, and Sean McNamara just ahead of them, and McNamara beginning his climb back, sitting in 17th now. Started 6th, sits 17th after an off-track excursion there that started at turn 12, finished at turn 1 with him in the wall, but he's trying to nurse that car through to the first round of pit stops. In fact, just on that, good to report, happy to report, we've got a couple of cars in the lane, Alan Dawson and Liam James. We've got a couple of cars that are a lap down in Wade Michael and Chris Barnes, but everyone else on the lead lap at the moment. Peter Kelly, the non-starter tonight, down there in 34th, but apart from 33rd, I should say. But apart from that, smooth sailing at the front of the field. There's Alex Court chasing his teammate Lassif Leonage now. Do these two work together, or will they engage in a duel of their own? You suspect they'd work together to try and go with Rainer Costello, who seems to have their measure at the moment. 106.56 last time round for Costello. 106.62 for Lassif Leonage. 106.50 for Alex Court. And Cameron Veacock also a 106.62 there in 4th. Ben Morris sits 5th. Cameron Jones has got back to 6th now. Then Ash Davis, Jacob Brewer, Dean Powell, and Lindsay Hobbs the top 10 as we circle lap 14 of 59. So we're not quite at a quarter race distance just yet. Chris Island's had an off-track moment here as we have a look at the replay. This is turn 2. It usually is turn 2 at Oran Park. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Every time. You clip the dirt on the exit, you're a passenger, and if you don't clout the concrete under the bridge, you clout the tyre barrier on the exit. Yeah. No doubt about that.
Yeah, I was just doing some research there, Zach, and young Micah was travelling at a 106.7, and our leader, Rainer, his last lap was a 106.3, so... Yeah, that young fella is laughing it with the best of them up the top there. So he's just dropped down to a 107 now. But when I was doing it, he was at a 106. So, where do we go? 106.3, 4, 6, 8. The top 7 are all going at 106s. And then the next couple behind have just had a couple of 107s. So... they're putting the pace on early.
They certainly are, and they haven't backed off yet either. Here's Scott McCune in 22nd position, under pressure from Craig Newell in 13th. What we should point out too, and Kisby mentioned it there a while ago, just the extraordinary pace from the youngsters of this field. Rainer's only 15, 16 years of age as well, so... I mean, the youngsters are well and truly taking it to the competition, and they're very well aware of that, the senior members of the NCS Championship. Now, Alan Dawson, I just caught a notification from him saying the net dropped out, so that's why he's off the circuit. Suffice to say, he's not happy about that. It doesn't matter whether it's the real world or the sim world, Kisby. Here's the 43 going round. Dear, oh dear, that's Morris, Ben Morris. And he was sitting in the top 5, and he's just been relegated down 14th, 15th, 16th to rejoin. Or 15th, I should say. That's an extraordinary loss of time and positions, and he's immediately going to come under pressure from Sean McNamara and Blake Urquhart as well up over the bridge. And so easily, hang on, actually, no, Sean McNamara is the long way back, my apologies. So that's obviously lap traffic getting in the way there. So Ben Morris has dropped 10 positions in the blink of an eye as we go back to Benjamin Siren in 14th now. Kisby, it doesn't matter if it's the real world or the sim world. It's always the circumstances beyond your control that annoy you the most. In the real world, it's mechanical. In the sim world, it's technical. The computer, the net dropping out, and you know what that's all about.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, that's exactly right, mate. Yeah, last week's apologies for not being here last week, but Telstra decided to shut down for 3 days in our area. So I had no internet at all for 3 days, and by the time I got back to racing again, my hands were glued to the wheel. I had to get back in, and I was suffering withdrawal symptoms. But it's good to be back.
Exactly.
And
it's good to have you back too.
Good VRS on Saturday night, and we're hoping for a good one in the up-and-comers tomorrow night. So, it's a lot of practice going on.
And I mean, to think that Telstra have the hide to charge the prices they do, and you still get dropped out for 3 days. I mean, seriously. Here's the replay for you. SimSnap photography. Craig Hopkins off the bridge and just pulling to the inside. Not quite sure what's going on there. So Hopkins in all sorts of trouble and pulling up, letting the pack through. Now, whether that's because I'm just having a look where he is in the running order here. He's down in 28th. I think that might have been to go a lap down, may it have been.
Yeah, he is 1 lap down.
Yeah, so Hopkins, Michael, Barnes, now all a lap down. Liam James, 7 laps down. And, of course, Alan Dawson, we know, is out of the race with the net dropout. Jacob Brewer sitting there in 7th at the moment, all over the back of Ashley Davis. Cameron Jones is well bolted up the road from this pair. He's trying to track down Cameron Beacock. Alex Court's applying pressure to his teammate Lassif Leonage in the battle for second, and Rainer Costello leads this race by 2.1 seconds. Lap 18 of 59 from the famed Oran Park circuit in Narellan. Now, of course, 12 years on from it. Here's Robert Crisdale too, by the way, sitting in 10th at the moment. 12 years on from the demolition of this wonderful piece of motor racing real estate, this sacred land. I struggle to find an excuse to go to Narellan these days. I don't know about you, Kisby. I know they've got a nice a golf club in those parts, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's... I like my little places down here.
Yeah,
I haven't seen. There's a lot of places down in Tasmania I haven't seen. I've been here 11 years, and there's a lot of places I haven't seen down here. And good news on that front, Targa is coming through again this year. So I'll get to sit on the corner of my property here and watch Jimmy Richards go up on 2 wheels again.
That's it.
As he goes around my 90-degree corner.
I expect videos. Get your phone out and take some videos, Kisby. That's the way.
I'll see what I can get for you.
Exactly. 19 of 59. Here is Rainer Costello, the first one to jump into the pit lane. Leonage and Court continue on, inherit the lead in second, respectively. Veacock and Costello in the lane. Costello, the first one to jump. And Cameron Jones comes in as well. So 3 of the top runners in the lane. And Ash Davis has joined them as well. So the first round of pit stops are upon us here. Quite a few drivers taking this opportunity to jump in, led by the race leader, Rainer Costello. Now puts Leonage in the effective race lead for the moment, but on corrected order. I'll be interested to see how it works out from here, because you might remember last week, Kisby, the undercut, I don't know whether you got to catch up with the race or not, the undercut didn't work Rainer Costello. Tommy Heyman pitted later, come out with the lead. So Rainer Costello jumping in early ahead of Leonage. He'll be hoping for a reverse result this week, hoping that it doesn't hurt him like it did last week. Lap 20 of 59. I expect these two will come in this time round, if not next time round. Down the main straight they go. Leonage and Court both in. There you go.
Yeah, it all depends on. There's quite a lot of factors to get those undercuts and overcuts to work, and none more so than you put the right amount of fuel in. I think on one of the races there over the last week that we've seen Zach together is that one of the guys put an extra 20 litres in, and that cost him the place.
Yep.
So often we see them forget to untick tyres. I'm not saying these guys would do that, but it can happen. It's a technical issue.
It's interesting you mentioned that, Kisby, because they've got to make a choice here. Do they take tyres now or take tyres in their second pit stop? Because they only get to change one set of tyres here. So that's a critical point that you make.
And, if you don't come in and you let the other guy go in and try you, do you get caught behind traffic? Does something happen in front of you? So there's so much that can go wrong or right when you're going for an overcut or an undercut. I've tried it a couple of times and it hasn't worked for me, but I'm still trying to work out my race tactics and strategy as a driver. I think I was racing their third one stage there and it didn't work for me because I forgot to take tyres. There we go, prime example. I did take tyres and I shouldn't have. But, it's just amazing how they work all this stuff in their heads on the fly as they're going to get around the course to try and get that little bit of an advantage to the driver coming in front or behind them.
Indeed. So Cameron Jones on screen there sits sixth at the moment. Of course, Steve Vella, the only one out there in the top five that hasn't yet stopped. Craig Newell in seventh, hasn't yet stopped. But the bulk of the field have now completed their first round of pit stops. Vella in this time by. And this is interesting because he's got to the end of lap 21. Everyone else 19, 20. Those that have got to 20 are in good stead. Those that got to 19, they need to save an extra lap in this stint and stretch it out to 20, and then they need to save again. So they've proven that fuel saving is doable, particularly Vella there. He can now get home on a stint of 19, or two stints of 19, 38 laps. So if they can all take a leaf out of Steve Vella's book, they may just be able to do this without the need for the splash and dash, which is interesting.
Tell you what, I got this little guy in my head and he sits there and says, "Pit now for fuel, you idiot." That's how I'd work out my fuel strategy.
That's it. A lot. That's the simple way of doing it. A lot of the other guys opt to go a little bit more technical than that, don't they?
That's exactly right.
The amount of time that some of our guys here in the NTS series, over in the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, of course, the amount of time they spend planning this stuff, testing, strategizing, discussing data. I mean, it's like a full-time job for some of them almost.
It is, and you notice it as well as I have. Yeah, you've got the guys that come in and they have limited practice. They'll come in, do one practice, jump in the car, be very, very fast, and they know what everything. We're talking about the Hobbos and the Whitakers and all that sort of stuff. You get the other guys that are very, very fast, but they'll do it down to the absolute nth in which they did in the Indies this week. Jackson Rayana,
Exactly.
They mapped it down to the absolute corner that they were going to go. And then you get the guys like me that take the simple way. And,
Speaking of taking the simple way, I don't like the look of Matt Davis being here in the commentary booth with me at this point in time. I take it we've got an in-race reporter for the rest of the night, have we? Although by in-race, I mean retired from the race.
Yeah, you got that one right.
Yeah. Talk us through it, Matt. What happened?
Oh, mate, look, I reckon if JP wanted to pick up the camera on my on the car for my my lap 20, lap 19, I reckon he'd be able to see the replay of me flunking the pit entry. Had all four wheels locked up and just put the front left into the barrier. So I got the meatball. So yeah, there was 10 minutes of optional repair. 10 minutes of required repairs. So I just said, nah, I'll retire from the race. I'll sit the rest of it out in the pit lane, and yeah, I might see how it goes.
Well, it'll be nice to put you to work for a little bit of a tease or a warm-up, I guess, for you for tomorrow night. Get the vocal cords firing on all cylinders ready for tomorrow night when you and Aidan Schultz call the Goodyear Auto Care Rarana T2 series, of course. Looking forward to seeing how all that plays out. The development series to what you're watching on screen here now, the NTS Championship. Mate, it's intense out there at the moment. The racing's been red hot right from the get-go. No shortage of action everywhere we look.
Yeah, mate, so I've just got race control in my ear. I'll let you continue going. I'll take off my VR headset and put the mic on properly, and I'll jump in and have a proper view. But I'll continue with that reply in a second. All
right, remember the question because I can't. Let's have a look at this. Scott McCune sitting there in 20th at the moment. Reina Costello leads this race. Lassive Leonage, Alex Court, Cameron Veacock, Cameron Jones, the top five. And I think you'll find the leaders will find themselves in amongst some lap traffic as the night goes on here. So, Kisby on a circuit where it's not overly easy to overtake, and overtaking opportunities are few and far between. Navigating lap traffic here could be a big part of the outcome of the results here in the greater scheme of things. I mean, that could be the difference between a win and a loss, because we know that there's always time to be lost in navigating, that you don't gain too much time, but there's always time to be lost when navigating your way through lap traffic.
Well, that's right, and I'm just looking at where we're at, and the turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 7 and 8. That's one of your passing moves. Correct. There before that big left-hander, and then you got the end of the straight when you come back round that big left in turn 1 and 2. That's where the guys most commonly pass me, and then there's possibly, if you could get on the inside for the last turn onto the straight, you've got a passing move there. And we've seen some of the guys pass there already tonight because the door's been left open for them just enough to get their nose in and squeeze up into the bead pillar. So, but you're a brave man to pass on that corner because you've got the wall on the outside.
Yes, exactly right. Watch this as well. This ongoing battle between, is it Cameron Jones and Cameron Veacock, with Jones sitting in the 5th position, Veacock just ahead of him. These two are trying to work together. You might notice similar paint schemes there. The teammates working together here, trying to go with Court and Leonage. So you got 3 teams in the top 5, but one team 2 and 3, one team 4 and 5 at the moment. A safety car here, and by gee, the tactics will come out in full force, I'd say. There'd be some gamesmanship and not a lot of sportsmanship, I wouldn't imagine, because it'll be all hell breaking loose, all guns blazing towards the end of the race. We're almost at half race distance. That will come up on lap 30, halfway through. In fact, by the time we get to the bridge, half race distance, if you don't mind, on lap 30. In the meantime, we're rolling through lap 27. Court following Leonage at the moment, the 888 following the 1. Where have we seen that car combination number-wise before? Oh,
yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, I wonder.
Only going back maybe a decade. Yeah, how about that? Lap 27 to 59. Make that lap 28 to 59 as Reina Costello crosses the line with a 4.3-second advantage over Lassive Leonage and Alex Court. Not quite half race distance, Oran Park in Sydney. Join us next week, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Really looking forward to this, Chris Kisby. The first of a 6-week swing through North America. There's a couple of stops in Canada. There's a couple of stops in the United States to look forward to. I mean, just look at some of the tracks we've got coming up here. Montreal, Sonoma, Watkins Glen, Sebring, which is, of course, where we had some GT3 racing last night with the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. Yeah. Mosport and Lime Rock. So 2 Canadian tracks and 4 cracking American tracks in the next 6 weeks to get to the halfway point of the season.
Watkins Glen's got to be one of my favourite tracks. I really love going through that. Boot, no boot, doesn't really matter. I just love the way it undulates round, the elevation. I like it because it's like this as well. The way when I was doing some practice, where was I practicing today? I think that was Oran Park, and it's got a bit of an elevation as well. So great tracks coming.
Chris Barnes into the pit lane. This will be interesting. I couldn't imagine this being a scheduled pit stop, given that it's lap 29.
74.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Rainer Costello, Russell Leonage and Alex caught the top three. Here's Peter Crossingham sitting down in 20th at the moment, trying to chase Scott McCune, trying to keep Tim Mulford at bay. But he's sitting there having a relatively lonely race at this particular point. I mean, McCune's there behind him, but not within striking distance just yet. McCune's got a little bit of work to do to get up onto his tail. And they cross the bridge one more time. And just looking through the field at the moment. Sorry, Matt. You jump in there, mate.
That's right. No, I'm just saying, Peter does know how to put the pressure on. I'm actually hoping he has a good race because I was holding him up a little bit there during the race. So, it's hopefully the SRT boys can get up. I know I did see McNamara crash out earlier on from the bird's eye view, and that looks pretty nasty. So.
Yeah, in fact, you mentioned McNamara. He's still circling the circuit in 15th position at the moment, but he has lost 9 spots on where he started. Speaking of movers and shakers, both Dean Powell up 5 spots, so too Ash Davis. They were in 6th and 8th, Davis and Powell respectively at the moment. 9 spots. Oh, what happened there? That's a massive shunt.
No,
I've got the screen for one moment down at the timing. Massive shunt. He's got, well, that's, yeah, I know he's lost it himself. Still a huge shunt in any respect. Peter Crossingham, you talk about applying pressure. The other thing he's applying pressure to at the moment is the tyre wall. Unfortunate for Peter Crossingham, but again, we talk about, and for the second time tonight, we've seen it, Chris Kisby. They grab the dirt on the exit of 2, and it flings them straight back across the racetrack. Unfortunately for Crossingham, it then sent him back 90 degrees the other way and straight into the tyre wall. I mean, the hit
we have safety car. Safety
car on circuit. Whoa! Doesn't that spice things up a little bit? Here we go.
I've been waiting for.
Whoa.
If we can have, oh, geez, Rainer, hold it together, son. I'm sure we'll have another look at that incident in just a moment for Crossingham. That just looked really weird.
Yeah.
No.
We've got a question coming through about whether Rainer just overtook in the safety car. I'll say no. He did have his nose up in the inside, but he didn't follow through with the move, so he didn't overtake per se. I'm sure we'll have a look at that in more detail. I'm sure we'll have a look at the Crossingham incident again as well.
It was his teammate that he tried to, that he did sneak up on the inside. I believe that was Micah, so...
Because I'll get you to talk us through this, Matt, when we see Peter's crash again. Because obviously he was trying to auto-correct it, for lack of better words. He was trying to gather the car up as it was sending him left, and then it's just flung him back right. If it were you, would you have just let it continue going left, or would you have done what Peter's done here?
Oh, look, it's that turn. I'm going to call it turn 2 there. Everyone calls it turn 1 because it is technically the main turning point.
Turn 2, we're in agreement. You're right. It's okay.
So coming out of there, the car's very light on the back. You come up onto the curb. As I said, you want to use it as a bit of a berm. If you take too much of that berm, and the car kicks off the very back of it, it just sends the car straight in a violent spin. So he's obviously come off there, quarter half throttle, and it's just lit the tyres up. And the automatic correction is to go right. Otherwise, there is a tyre barrier on the left-hand side of the track there, and it does spear you into it, and that is actually race done as well. So there's no real runoff there. So he's done the right thing. I would have done the same. Hooked right. Pray to God that it came out and sort of didn't whip as hard, but unfortunately for Pete, it's really whipped him around and it's sent him off the track and up onto the tyre barrier.
Yeah, a strange sort of incident, not the sort we normally see. But anyway, Crossingham's race is going to be done. He's got the toe back to the lane. And that really shakes up this race as well, because no one wins here. And what I mean by that is, we were looking at the fuel range in the first stint, Chris Kisby. We were looking at 19, 20, 21 laps to a stint. So no one pits here and gets home. The only thing that this helps us with is not netting that splash and dash in the last couple of laps. So in one respect, everyone wins. In one respect, everyone doesn't, because there's no benefit from pitting at this particular point in time.
Yeah, that's right. Will they get another one or won't they? It's just, you've just got to go through your head and think, have I got enough? Do I need new tyres? Because these things eat tyres like crazy.
Although,
yeah, it's a hard one. And not to splash and dash is great. So if they can get home, then it'll be great. Because then all they've got to worry about is its handling of the car. So Lasseth will be thinking, is the car still handling really well for the latter half of the race? Can I nurse at home? Going on his times and what I was seeing just before the safety car came out, he was starting to put even more between him and Court and Jones. So, you got Lasseth in there.
Safety car in this lap as well, guys. Lights are out.
Safety car in.
Okay, lights out on the safety car. That'll come in this time by. Hey, Matt, obviously the safety car wasn't out long enough for this to become an equation, but the only thing I thought of that might have been an option for some of these guys, given tyre wear being a factor, we're at half race distance. If you come in now, you're getting 26 laps out of a set of tyres instead of trying to stretch these guys out for 35, 37, 39 laps, or even in the reverse, obviously 25, 26, 27.
Yeah, that's it. My tyres, even when I came into the pits, my tyres were shot. Ash Davis, he was having a lot of trouble. They were
lost, Matt.
Oh, no, I'm back, sorry. No.
No, we lost you for about 3 seconds there, mate. I was a bit worried.
Yep.
So across the start-finish line they go, under the bridge, and this is, of course, Lasseth, Leonage, Alex Court, Cameron Jones, Cameron Veacock and Ash Davis, the top 5 here at the moment. There's Rainer Costello fighting his way back through the field. So this is what we were talking about there earlier. Rainer Costello's fallen back. Not 100% sure what's happened there.
He pitted.
Oh, he pitted under that safety car. So there you go. That's what we were talking about. Is there an advantage to coming in and splitting the race with regards to tyres? You can't fuel up and get home, but you can get on a fresher set of tyres and have a slightly less worn. Well, the second set will be slightly more worn than what it would have been if you waited until the fuel window. Oh, Costello in the grass trying to get around the outside. Who means business tonight?
Alex Court came off coming into that corner, sort of Oregon Rainer sort of opened the wheel for him, but opened the wheel too much, or is it? Oh, sorry. That looks like Court to me.
Another 3-number car, but no, not Court, you're right.
And from my screen, because it's I've currently got it on the small screen, because the main screen's on the VR, it looked like the 888, so... but the NTS as he rubs up against the rear bumper there, the phase 4. From my screen it looked like the 888 Alex Court, but he did run wide coming through the fast S's there. So I think Costello opened up the wheel a little bit just for him and ran himself wide onto the grass there. So lucky enough to pull it up into the final corner there and get it turned in. But very lucky for Costello.
So, I'm interested now, and this is a point that we'll talk about post-race, I'm sure. I'm interested if Rainer Costello's done himself a disservice there by pitting. You can understand why he pitted. It was the reasons we were talking about in terms of either trying to get through another 6-7 laps on a worn set of tyres to get to that pit window, lap 40, lap 41, or come in, have a fresher set of rubber, which will be slightly more worn at the end of the pit window, at the end of the race. but it could do you a service in the immediate future of the race. So we'll wait and see on that. And obviously how the pit stops play out will be interesting as well. In the meantime, here's McNamara and Hobbs, 12th and 14th. Have a look at the logjam cars here at the moment. Just ahead of him is, of course, Brian Cooper. And just behind him is Blake Urquhart. So a lot of traffic around at the moment. Kisby trying to find a clean piece of real estate. Seemingly impossible.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. And I've just gone back through and Rayner was into the pits and 9.5 seconds. So he's had a splash. No tyres. So
hang on a sec, Kisby. Hang on a sec. Cameron Jones is off the circuit. There he is in the dirt. You just saw him on the edge of your screen there on the left-hand side. Cameron Jones has gone off for a second time tonight, and this one a lot more costly. Have a look at this, Matt. Talk us through it.
Yeah, they come through third gear, pluck it into fourth, and quickly dab the brakes down into to drop back into third, and he's just copped the gravel, and that is unfortunate for Cam. It's very easy to throw the car off to the right-hand side there and try and get a little bit too greedy on the curb there, Zach. So he's dropped the rear in, too much rear brake, and it's sent the car around and backed it into the tyre barrier there.
Lap 37 of 59, and doesn't matter which chapter this race you fast forward or rewind to on the replay, folks, there'll always be something going on. We haven't had so much of a chance for a breath tonight. This has been extraordinarily intense racing at Oran Park in Sydney. We expected nothing less. There's Costello coming down on the inside of Powell. Job done. Costello, in the sixth at this point in time. And already Matt Davis cheering for team orders here at the moment. Brilliant stuff. Tactical play, and I like that. I mean, fine. Fair game as far as I'm concerned. Jacob Brewer, the next target. Yeah. And just on the subject of that team, we were talking earlier about the youth of Michael Emisuri, who is a lap down in 24th at the moment. And now, Costello in the lane now. That's huge.
Again.
That doesn't seem right to me.
That's the drive-through penalty, I believe.
Jeez.
Possibly. Let's have a look.
If that's a drive-through penalty, did he get pipped for something under the safety car procedure?
Quite possibly.
Or for overtaking on the grass.
Maybe.
Oh, no. Ben Morris sitting there in 9th at the moment. And again, the race just ebbs and flows. And at this point in time, it's swinging right into the favour of the NTS squad. We said they'd hit their straps at some point. It looks like tonight is the night. Round number 3. Leonage, Court, Vicock, Davis, Brewer, the top 5.
Rain is back out on track now, so I reckon he did cop a drive-through penalty there, Zach. So I've just flipped over to Rayner there on the screen, and it looks like he did cop a drive-through.
So that'll just rub him out of contention for the moment, I'd suspect.
I believe.
Which is extremely unfortunate. Cameron Vicock's off the circuit as well now. He's dropping down the leaderboard on our screen here. What's happened here on the run down to turn 9? Or actually, no, this is turn 12. This is the last corner. That's Ben Morris going through there. So here's Vicock coming down into turn 1. Oh, no, he's missed the apex and clouded the wall but 1. My goodness gracious me. And normally, turn 1, you're slightly tapping on the brakes to turn it in left to then slam on the brakes for the left-hander at 2. And he's just missed the apex and everything, and he's gone firing off into the tyre wall. He found the wall eventually on the far outside of turn 2, and that is another one out of business. Vicock rejoins in 11th, but a long way down. McNamara, what a fight back this has been. Up on the inside, can he find his way into 8th? No, he can't, not yet. Oh boy, he's all over the back. Here we go. Christo into the lane. McNamara and Morris continue on. McNamara's 8th. Davis under pressure there in 3rd at the moment. Jacob Brewer up on his tail. And then just behind them is Dean Powell. Meanwhile, at the front, Leonage and Court continue to waltz away with it. On a Tuesday night, the NTS Super Series, the MHD 150 from Oran Park on SimShed Broadcasting and Real Sim Racing Australasia. Great to have you covered wherever you're tuning in around Australia. Jeez, Chris Kisby. Where do you start with all of this? I don't know where to look at the moment. There's something going on everywhere around this racetrack.
Yeah, it's the same as me. A couple of warnings coming across race control being handed out, so I think race control is getting a little bit agitated with a couple of the guys out there, and they're giving them some pretty stern warnings. So
here we go. This is David Leslie on the run down to turn 4. Turned around.
Oh, never going to work.
Never going to work at all. Race. So it was Wade Michael there. And that's exactly what Kisby's talking about. Race control won't look too fondly upon that. Lap 41. Leonage and Court just continuing to cruise away with this one. A dominant performance to this point. And still a splash and dash to go. Potentially.
God. Oh, Jacob Brewer's got past Dean Powell, by the looks of it. There was another Ford up there somewhere, but we got 3 Holdens, 3 Fords in the top 6. So, Ashley Davis, he was up there, so I don't know what's happened to him.
Oh, here we go. Both in now. Here come the boys for their second routine stop. This is the stop that they'll fuel and get home with. They will fuel here and get themselves home. Leonage, Court, Brewer, Powell, all in. Siren, McNamara, Cooper. The top 7 are all in the lane. Matt Davis rejoins us at a critical point.
And, mate, I have some big news.
Okay.
Big news. Rainer Costello has received not just 1 drive-through penalty, but he's going to be receiving 2. So the first one was car contact on car 344.
Yep.
And then a lap later in the same corner, he had car contact with Rob Crisdale in 555.
Okay.
So that puts Rainer Costello out of contention for this one.
Yeah.
So 344 is Brian Cooper, for those of you playing along at home. And, as Matt just correctly pointed out, the 555 is Rob Crisdale. And Rob is sitting well down the order at the moment, probably maybe as a result of the contact, I'm not sure. The 555 sitting down in 16th at the moment. Rainer Costello out of business as far as the outright contention in this championship is concerned. In this race, I should say. He's still very much a contender in the championship, but he won't be a contender in the outright standings tonight in the podium places. How good's track cam look there? Concrete barrier cam, as we'll call it, on the main straight. Although, I was going to say there will be a few mirrors missing from these cars at the end of the night, I would suspect. Blake Urquhart sitting as the leader at the moment, but he's still got a pit stop to come his way, I would suspect. Chris Island, Lindsay Hobbs, Lassif Leonage, Alex Court, the top 5. One must ask the question, is there another sting in the tail just yet? There's still 17 to go.
Yeah, it's my referee saying he's had a run of 12. It's lap 43, so he's had a run of 12. So I would say he would still have to pit again. It's Blake.
Pit lane transit along your Zach's not exactly short either. It's a 50k pit lane transit speed, and it's quite a long one too. So you're coming off the main straight, and you're pulling up early, so you don't obviously do what I did and lock all tyres and set it into the barrier there on the entry. But yeah, it's down to 50k's, and it's a tricky one to get into. Extremely long transit. You take 8 seconds for tyres and whatever it is for fuel. You.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Let's have a look at this. The 2 teammates here side by side. 11th is Sean McNamara. And, of course, Ben Siren just ahead of him there. And McNamara will be trying to find a way back into the top 10 here. Will he dive down the inside? You better believe it.
Team orders.
Siren just makes it very easy for him. There we go. No contest. Across the line they go. Urquhart, Island, Hobbs, Leonage and Court, the top 5 here, of course. On corrected order, Leonage and Court in control of this one by a country mile. Davis sits there in 6th at the moment. And Matt, I know you've been watching a lot of the action on a Wednesday night, which has been terrific thus far. But the action here, a drive-through penalty too for the 666 for multiple blue flag infringements.
Yep.
They were
And
warned
that'll
as
be
well.
David Leslie.
They were warned by race control. When I was visiting them upstairs there, they did give the drivers a big warning and said, this is the last opportunity for or last warning for blocking, and you will be receiving drive-through penalties from there on. So the boys obviously not getting the message there out on track and holding up the faster cars. So and serves them right. That's the punishment. Unfortunately, it is racing.
Certainly is. Just going back to what we were talking about before all that happened, you were talking about, I was going to ask you about Wednesday nights. Wednesday night, the standard has been terrific. The racing's been superb. I haven't had a chance to watch as much of it as I would have liked because I'm usually working on another broadcast while you guys are on air. But as we have a look here at Jacob Brewer, all over the back of Ash Davis at this point in time, so 6th and 7th duking it out for the minor placings. But I tell you what, Matt, the standard on a Tuesday night, it's second to none. These guys have been thrilling and very entertaining throughout the first 3 weeks, and we've got another 14 weeks of this to look forward to just yet.
Yeah, it's the boys out on track, and it's not only just the NTS V8 Super Series, but the Goodyear Autocare Warana V8 T2A Series. They've been for a development series, and guys that have only been in the sim for say a few months to 12 months. The boys are putting on a fantastic show. There's some clean racing, as we see Brewer having a look down on the inside into the final corner on Davis. It's been good, clean racing. We've got the young Rehan Leonage, the son of Lasses Leonage, reigning champion from the last year's series. He's doing an awesome job behind the wheel. He's the youngest one in the field of only, I believe it was 10. He was 10 years old from memory to 11 years old. So he's really showing up to the big guns up top. He's putting the pressure on. He runs his head clean. And had a good outing at Barber, but unfortunately just had a little bit of an incident and got spun around towards the end, but still came home in a well-deserved spot. I think he was inside the top 10 if memory serves right. So the boys out there, they're putting on a show. They're showing some clean racecraft, which is good. So hopefully if all goes well for them this season and they're feeling comfortable, they might be able to take the big step and jump up with the big boys here and give it a run here.
I tell you what, we had great fun with the Goodyear Autocare Warana Bathurst 1000 last December, and already it looks like it's going to be a must-watch come this December, based on what you're seeing in both the series. When we combine the pair, join the grids up, team the best of the best up as far as driver combinations is concerned. Oh boy, you're going to have a massive field embarking on 161 laps there in December, and we can't wait to have you with us here on SimShed Broadcasting for that. There's a lot to get to before that, however. Like right now, Alex scored all over the back of Lasses Leonage. See, this is the thing, and we've spoken about this at length over the last couple of weeks. It was only a matter of time before Court hit his straps, Matt. He's done that tonight. A nice return to form for what is shaping up to be a Team 1-2 and an emphatic one at that.
Yeah, Court's held his head clean. I mean, he had a little bit of an unfortunate mishap at Long Beach. I do remember him going off into turn 1 there. But it kind of caught me out, actually. I was hard on the brakes and just watched him turn around and back it into the tyre barrier. So he's had a bit of a rough start to the season, but he's starting to find his feet again, starting to find his groove and punching out those quick lap times. He's now on the back of his teammate here, Lasses, and following him through the race. So hopefully, fingers crossed for NTS, they get the 1-2 through to the end. It'll be good showing for him. But no, Court is a cool-headed driver. He knows what he's doing. Sometimes gets a little bit frustrated, but hey, Zach, everybody gets frustrated in the field, including
we all.
Everyone gets frustrated, and it's not always on the racetrack, I have to say. Frustrated off the racetrack.
Post-race, usually the frustration, guys, when you get the post-race penalties, that's when the frustration really kicks in.
Exactly right. And there's other facets of life where frustration just creeps in on a daily basis, but we'll get to that later, right? 49 and 59 here. This has been a fast, clean race so far. A little bit of drama, a little bit of nitpicking here and there, but relatively clean. And Lindsay Hobbs is sitting there in third at the moment. Now, judging by the numbers here, Urquhart, Island and Hobbs will be pitting for a splash and dash. They will not get home based on all the numbers that we're seeing, even without the most amount of fuel saving you could ever imagine. They can't get home from here, so there'll be a quick splash and dash for them, and then order will be restored with Leonage and Court at the front of the field. This has been terrific stuff. I hope you're enjoying it, wherever you're watching, I should say, right around Australia. And if you are tuning in, feel free to leave us a comment on the Facebook page. I'm watching the feed through Real Sim Racing Australasia tonight, but also broadcasting on SimShed Broadcasting, also over on YouTube as well. No shortage of places to watch the action in 2021. We're here with thanks to our great partners at Nationwide Tracking Systems, the naming rights sponsor of the championship, and Melbourne Hydrographix Depot, the naming rights partner of this round, the Oran Park 150. Of course, I mentioned earlier race distance, the 59 laps around the 2.62 kilometre circuit, and it equated to 154.58 kilometres. They're getting more than your money's worth tonight, because you're getting a little bit more than 4 kilometres over the advertised price, which is better than what you're getting this weekend at Mount Panorama, and I'll explain more on that a little bit later on. Here's Brian Cooper having a look down on the inside.
And that's a ballsy move.
That's a critical bit of driving, that. And then he managed to hold it on the exit of 8 as well. That was beautifully done.
Oh wow, that's some serious commitment, and especially as you can see, you got car damage on the front there of the tanked SRT entry there. That's going to be affecting his front aero there, Zach, Chris. So it's really going to be pushing him, pushing the front end through there. So that's a big move to do through those corners.
So just getting word through from our audio, our director here, that the top 3 may have pitted under safety car, which those numbers add up. Yes, they did. And they may come very close, but they've all just said, no, we won't, because they've all just pitted. They're in the lane right now. Urquhart, Hobbs and Ireland all in pit lane right now. So whatever theories you had about whether they could stretch it out to 27, 28 laps, they've just put that to bed for you. And now order restored at the front of the field with Leonage and Court taking us through in first and second, and walking away with this in a way that only they can. I mean, last week it was the Heyman and Costello show at Barber Motorsports Park, but they've got nothing on this. I mean, these two have been clinical from the outset tonight. They have just slowly but surely crept away from the field. No one's within touching distance of them at the moment. Here's the battle up on the inside. Davis on Costello to third. Davis gets through nicely. Costello looking to fight back on the inside, going into... Oh, he got it done, 2 into 4. Up over 5, up onto the bridge. Great move from Costello, but here's the problem. He pitted on 31. Surely he's got another stop to come. Surely now he's just holding this pack up. What a moment. What a move from Costello. Look at his teammate coming in there as well. Is that... Jacob Brewer, yeah. What a nice... Is Costello playing tactics here, trying to help Brewer find a way past Davis and then going to pit? Surely he's in his fuel window in the next lap or so. There he goes right now. Bang on that note, right on cue. And now, if you're Brewer, you're on your own. It's now or never if you're going to get by Davis on the run to turn 1. Does he fire it down the inside? No, not yet. There's a car very slowly limping in the background as well, boys. A car very slowly limping in the background, so we'll keep an eye on that. Is there a sting in this tail just yet?
Well, Brewer's just outside of the podium here, so he's going to be pushing at Davis pretty hard here, Zach and Chris. He was on the podium, I believe, in Long Beach from memory, if that serves me correct. So he's going to be hoping for another one. Put a few more points into that championship that he's got. He's inside the top 10. I believe he's sitting 4th or 5th. Zach, you might be able to help me out on that one.
I'll have a look for you in just a moment. I was just going to say, have a look who's lurking in 5th as well. Who's right behind Brewer, who we're on board with. Sean McNamara. After fighting his way back from 16th after he come off the circuit, he's in the top 5. That's the drive of the night right there. I don't care what's going on up the front. That's a tremendous fight back on a circuit where everyone's so tightly matched and evenly paced. and or tightly paced, evenly bunched, whatever you want to say, whatever words. Drive-through penalty.
Yeah.
Oh,
Big lock up, Brewer.
Davis!
McNamara takes a 2-for-1 deal.
What about that from McNamara?
I reckon that might have been a little bit of team orders there, Zach. Hey, just put Brewer wide here for me. Have a bit of a lock-up. I'll sneak on by.
I did not get the memo of who got the drive-through there. My apologies, because all hell just broke loose on the screen here.
Car 77 drive-through penalty for car contact. I didn't catch what car. Didn't catch what car it was car contact on, but car 77 got a penalty.
Scott McCune is the car in question. Sean McNamara finds himself in the podium places now. Davis and Brewer are now fighting for fourth rather than fighting for third. What a moment this is. And Davis has broken clear of Brewer. Here's the replay. Ben Morris heading off the circuit here, I think, on the run down to turn 12.
Oh,
insignificant.
And rejoin. Oh, no.
He sends the 555 into the wall, which is, of course, our good mate Robert Crisdale, I believe. Oh, it hasn't been a great night for so many. There's always a story or two to tell after an NTS race, Matt. More so tonight. I think there's tales of the tape everywhere we look.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks, Zach. It's the boys are pushing hard. I mean, the director JP, he's really thrown it at us guys out here in the series. He's only given us one set of tyres to take during the middle of the race, so it's really putting the strain on us drivers out there. You're really trying to wrestle these big supercars around such a small track. I mean, we're lapping in 66 seconds, 68 seconds roughly, so just over a minute here. They're quick laps. There's 60 laps, 59 laps around here, so you're sweating absolute donkey whatever in your sim at home, and by the time you get to it, it is you're absolutely well spent. So it's boys will be getting frustrated out on track. Couple slow cars might be holding them up, as car 43 has got a drive-through penalty for car contact on 555 Robert Crisdale on lap 51.
In the least surprising bit of news we'll read all night.
That's it. So, but look, it's the boys are doing it tough out there. Oran Park, it's not the easiest of tracks. I'd almost put it up with trying to get around Bathurst nice and cleanly without rubbing a wall. Oran Park, it's a very, very tough track, boys.
Now, just getting word through from the Sunshine Coast, there's a storm hovering right over our broadcast hub at the moment. So if you lose us at any time, you know exactly why. I'm just getting in to give you the warning. Prepare for disappointment, and then if we're still with you for the post-race show, then, we escape. We get a get out of jail free card, and we breathe a sigh of relief. But in the meantime, we go back to the front of the field here. There is Sean McNamara in third. 17 seconds down on Lassif Leonage and Alex Court, but he won't care. He won't give a rodent's rectum tonight. This has been a tremendous performance from Sean McNamara. I mean, to be fair, he was buried down in 16th very early on. He's used the safety car, obviously, to his advantage. He's driven superbly through the field, executed overtaking manoeuvres when the opportunity has presented itself, and then maybe a little bit of showmanship and gamesmanship being played there between Davis and Brewer helps him get through into third, and he's back in the game. Matt, you mentioned Brewer. Yes, you were right. Opening round, he was third, so a good performance from him there, and he's on track for his second top 5 finish of the season if he can stay where he's at.
Yeah, Brewer's had a sensational drive these past few races. I think he's actually been in the top 10. Podium top 10 finish last week at Barbara, I believe, and another top 5 finish this week. So he's put on a real good show for the E1 Sim Racing boys. Obviously, Rainer Costello's sort of checked out of the race here with unfortunate penalties of his own undoing there. So Brewer's the next big hope for E1. So he's sort of bringing it home for those boys and giving them a good showing up the front there, and obviously putting some more points into his championship there.
How about this as we continue on the run home here at Oran Park? Lap 57 of 59. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you're tuning in around Australia.
I know I am.
And don't forget, of course, if you want more, Super Series action. It's the NCS, it's the Goodyear Auto Carolina T2E Series tomorrow night with the man that's alongside us at the moment through an early retirement tonight in the NCS race, Matt Davis, alongside another buddy of ours in Aidan Schultz in central commentary. Same time, same place, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow night right here, SimShed Broadcasting and Rural Sim Racing Australasia. Don't forget about that. And Chris Kisby and I, you'll hear us elsewhere, but I'll get into that in more detail a little bit later on. Of course, Friday night, SimShed Broadcasting brings you coverage of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club Road to Indy Series, preceded by Freaky Friday, but the Indy Series itself off to Sonoma, which will throw up some great road racing. We're looking forward to that, 7:40 Eastern Daylight Time on Friday night. So SimShed Broadcasting, your home of all good racing online in the virtual world in 2021. Michael Limasuri is sitting there 15th at the moment. Not a great night for him, but there's a good result brewing. There's a good result in the firing line in the mix for him in the weeks to come. There's no doubt about that. Only a lap to go here. A dominant performance from the NCS squad. This is why Lassif Leonage has the number 1 on his car. It's there for a reason, folks, and in a lap's time, he's going to secure his first win of the season. And we're going to have our 3rd different race winner in as many weeks, which, Matt, in its own right, says a lot about the competitiveness of this championship.
Oh, that's exactly right, Zach. It's the competition in this series is fierce. I mean, teammate Dean and myself were chatting just before the race, and we'll have a look at the qualifying times. From 4th place down to, I believe I qualified in 15th, 14th, was only separated by 0.2 of a second. So if that doesn't say something, where you pretty much can't even fit 10 cars across the start-finish line spread out the track, that's saying how close the competition is.
Indeed it is. On the run home for the last time, through turn 9 they go. That's been the scene of a bit of drama tonight, but there's been no drama whatsoever for Alex Court or Lassif Leonage. This has been clinical, and this will send a message to the rest of the competition that the NCS boys are back in town. Last turn, checkered flag, 1-2 form finish for Lassif Leonage and Alex Court at Oran Park. They get the job done in Sydney. Oh, take a photo, boys. Brilliant. Magnificent performance. Matt Davis has just jumped out of central commentary. We might get him back soon. But that was a clinical performance. Well done from Leonage and Court. Sean McNamara home 3rd, Ash Davis 4th. A lot of cars through there, a lap down in the end. Jacob Brewer come home in 5th. Chris Island was 6th. Brian Cooper's on his way home. He takes 7th. Cameron Veacock will come home in 8th. Blake Urquhart, good run from him to 9th. And Ben Siren to 10th. In fact, have a look at this. Brian Cooper up 12 spots from 19th to 7th. Blake Urquhart from 25th to 9th, if you don't mind. Ben Siren, 21st to 10th. Steve Vella, 18 positions gained, 29th to 11th. Looking down the order, 13 places gained for Craig Newell. He came home in 18th from 31st on the grid. So a lot of movers and shakers tonight, which is a little bit surprising, I guess, Matt, and Chris as well. We'll go to Chris first on this one because of the nature of Oran Park and the fact that it is difficult to overtake on. But given the attrition, given the drama we saw in the race tonight throughout the field over what was 59 grueling laps, Chris, I can't say I'm overly surprised that we have seen a couple of guys being able to slice their way through the field pretty comfortably. And we've just lost Chris Kisby on that note. So, Matt, can you pick up the slack there for me, please?
Mate, and I've jumped in halfway through your questions, so...
I was just running through the list of movers and shakers tonight. I mean, look at Brian Cooper up 12 spots, Blake Urquhart 16, Ben Siren 11, Steve Vella 18, and down there at 18th, but with 13 positions gained, was Craig Newell. So there were 5 really big movers tonight on a track where it's difficult to overtake, but they've made the most. They've taken the advantage of all the rubbish happening around them, and there was a bit of attrition as well.
Yeah, 100%. It's Oran Park sort of treated as still a little bit of a Long Beach special here. A lot of drivers obviously crashing out, and obviously having to either retire or drive through penalties. So that obviously plucks the bottom order runners sort of up a little bit and gets them into a top finish, just like Michael there. He copped the drive through penalty at the start, finished up in 15th. So, but I'll let you take it over here, Zach, with the unofficial results here.
Yeah, unofficial results. We need to stress that for you, ladies and gentlemen. The Melbourne Hydrographix Depot, Oran Park 150, the Nationwide Tracking Systems SuperSeries for the V8s, of course. Lassif Lienage on top, 7 Holdens in the top 10 in the end. It was Lienage from Court and Sean McNamara third. Then Jacob Brewer was fifth, and Chris Ireland sixth, Brian Cooper seventh, and Cameron Veacock eighth. So Holden 7 in the top 8 tonight. Ash Davis was fourth, Blake Urquhart ninth, and Ben Siren 10th, at least flying the blue flag there in the top 10 at some point. So that was good to see. Steve Vella 11th, then Lindsay Hobbs 12th, Ben Morris 13th, Dean Power, Michael E. Masuria round out the top 15. Chris Barnes, Cameron Jones, Craig Newell, Daniel Schultz, and Scott McCune take us back to 20th. Now, we should point out only 12 cars getting home on the lead lap. And, of course, there is a stronger presence of Holdens on this grid than Fords before we even start. So don't worry about the dominance there of Holden, because, as we saw last week, Ford were very competitive. 2 laps down, Craig Schultz, Tim Mulford, David Wesley, Craig Hopkins, and Wade Michael take us back to 25th. Then Robert Crisdale and Rainer Costello ended up 8 laps down in the end. What a shocker of a night for the Queensland up. Then we go back to... sorry, that just disappeared off my screen.
It was Peter and myself, mate. So let's just
Jason Dibattito was 28th. Peter Crossing was himself. Yeah, that's right. I didn't mention Jason. I didn't get to him, and there were a few retirements down beyond that as well. Great racing as per usual. We've lost Chris Kisby, but we do have Sean McNamara, Lassif Lienage, and Alex Court joining us here in the post-race show. Matt Davis will stick around too. I like to try and dissect across the course of, the next half hour as we take you up to 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time, provided that everything holds up at JP's. And, of course, we got through the race before the storm got in the way. Let's see if we can get through the post-race as well. Touch wood, fingers crossed. 1 hour, 8 minutes and 41 seconds, the race-winning time. Lassif Lienage, you flew the flag for the NTS squad last week, but this week, well and truly back in town, mate. Well done.
Thanks, mate. It's good to be back in the podium, and as well as having Alex P2. It's awesome.
Just talk us through that if you don't mind, mate. I mean, it looked pretty ominous from maybe the quarter-way mark of the race, lap 15, lap 16. But you guys were going to be hard to beat tonight. Some mishaps for Rainer Costello along the way, eased the pressure a little bit. Sean McNamara running off the circuit. We're going to get to that in a moment, because what a fight back that was. There were a lot of little things that fell your way tonight, but your pace was exceptional.
Oh, thanks, mate. I mean, pace-wise, we decided to drop the pace a little bit just to keep it consistent, because on this track, it's very easy to make a mistake, as you could see, and some of the top guys are making mistakes and running off the track. So I was just talking to Alex the whole time and just talking about, trying to keep it consistent and not make any mistakes. And 0 incident points for me, that means another 5 points in the bag too, so I can't complain.
Exactly. On a night where 0 incidents was hard to come by as well. Matt will throw some questions your way, I'm sure, at some point here too. I'll bring in Alex Court at this particular point in time. Mate, it was only a matter of time before we got you onto the podium. Finally, a race went to script for you, and just unable to... was it... Okay, I won't say unable to get by the teammate, maybe unwilling to go by the teammate. Was it team orders at play there that saw the number 1 lead you home?
Oh, look, we were just happy to bring the 2 NTS cars on the podium together. So, yeah.
Talk us through your race, mate, because obviously you started down in 5th, but got a cracker of a start. Rainer got an absolute shocker, and that allowed you guys to move up immediately. So the pressure was on in the early stages. It was very aggressive and demanding in those opening 5-6 laps. There was a lot happening around the place, but what eventuated from there was that you and Lassif had clear air, and it looked like a relatively easy night at the office for you. Talk us through the race, because this is the night, and I'm going to flag it now, and I said it in the call. This is the night where you guys have just sent a message to the rest of the pack that you mean business, because to be fair, the first 2 weeks probably haven't gone your way in the way that you would have liked.
Absolutely. Look, the practices paid off this week. I think I've put in 12 hours or something this week of practice. So I wanted this one. As far as the race being easy, 60 laps around this track, not easy, man.
No.
it's grueling.
I like
I'll
your
jump in here and fire a couple questions at yourself and Laz, Alex here. Obviously, big talking point. We only had one set of tyres for the race to put on. So how did you guys go about, obviously, managing those tyres and making them last the end? It looked like both the cars there were on rails. They weren't sliding around. They weren't moving around on tracks. So how did you guys manage that? What was your strategy with that one?
Well, with the tires, we knew by doing a couple of official races, you can make them last 40-odd laps. So we both decided to take tires in the first stop and then make them last all the way to the end. So, and that paid off nicely. I mean, other people falling away from the race, that definitely eased the pressure on us. So we didn't have to push it as hard and wear down the tires. But having hardly any lockups and things like that definitely paid off.
Yeah, and obviously, Alex, did the track temps die down in the end? I mean, I didn't really have any sort of idea on this end, jumping in the booth. But did the track temps die down at all towards the end of the race, or did they start to heat back up again?
Yeah, no, they dropped off. But as Laz said, the tyres were fine. We just managed them. So
it was interesting. It was interesting too. I was just going to jump in there. According to the server, because the server's still alive for another hour, so I'm sure if you guys wanted to, you could go out and just do doughies for an hour if you wanted to. The fact of the matter is that my reading now says partly cloudy 27 in the sky, 39 on track. It was 52 on track at the start of that race, and even though server times only come to 4:25 in the afternoon Sydney time, progressive civilized time, it's still a pretty hot part of the day. There's still a few hours of daylight available to Sydney at that point, unlike up here in Queensland, of course. But that was a significant drop to shed by 25% from 52 to 39. That was a significant difference in the end. But it was interesting too, boys, because of where the safety car fell. A couple of drivers opted to come in and take on their tyres at that point in time just to even, I guess, the wear and tear of the tyres. Yes, they would be more worn at the end of lap 59 than what anyone that just waited until their second pit stop and their second set would be. And furthermore, there were a couple of guys that I think wanted to try and stretch the fuel load for 28 laps, but that was just seemingly impossible. So clearly no merit gained for you guys anyway in coming in at the 31 mark to top up tyres. So how were those next 10 or so laps where you're on a little bit of worn rubber, you're racing towards an empty fuel tank, and then you've got also a lot of lap traffic around as well to contend with?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you go, man.
Sorry. Yeah, for me, they were fine. I just kept my head down and yeah.
I mean, when Rainer pitted, we were thinking, "Wow, that's an early pit stop under safety car," and we looked at the figures, and it was never gonna work. So we decided to stay on with the safety car and stick to our strategy and pit at the right time.
Indeed. No, it was great to watch. Let's bring in the driver of the night as far as I'm concerned at this point in time. And I'm happy for Matt Davis. I really want to argue it with me at this point because this was exceptional from Sean McNamara, mate. Good evening and congratulations on another podium. Good to have you back on the podium, actually. In the end, yeah, exactly. It has been a while, but well deserved this one. Geez, you worked hard for that. You didn't make it easy for yourself, obviously. It all come unstuck with the cladding of the wall there, or running wide, I should say, in turn 12. Then you ended up in the gravel at 1, cladding the wall there, fighting your way back from 16th to end up on the podium. Just talk us through that hectic hour from your perspective.
Yeah, full-on race. Well done. First up to Alex and Laz on a 1-2 for the team, so well done, boys. But yeah, look, that first couple laps was a bit full on, and I saw an opportunity to sort of go in deep into the last corner when Alex had a little bit of a moment, and I overcooked it, and that just made me vulnerable down the front straight for the next lap. And we'll have a debrief after this with the old team. But Ash just got on the inside of me, and I couldn't turn in, so I had nowhere to basically go without taking us both out. So ended up on the dirt, and I think I actually dropped down to P27 at the end of that lap, and bloody head down, bum up, and got on with it. So yeah, really stoked with the comeback, but stoked for the entire team as well. We had 3 cars in the top 10, and but yeah, really happy with that comeback. Big night.
Absolutely, it was. Just how much energy have you absorbed in the course of that? Because you probably worked harder than you were intending to tonight. I take it, if it's anything like us here in southeast Queensland, the sweat's dripping out at the moment. You're looking forward to a cool shower after all of that.
Yeah, I'll have a beer first. But yeah.
That's it. Good boy.
Yeah, no, I've got the aircon cranked. But yeah, it was obviously contending. Yeah, obviously the boys at the front got to lap traffic quick, and no disrespect, but I was on the back of the pack, so you had to fight your way through some of the slightly slower guys. So it was hard work at Oran Park. There's limited passing opportunities. So, and then at the same time, you're saving fuel and saving tyres. So as I heard the boys say before, the tyres actually held up pretty well here. So you're fortunate enough to take them at the first stop, sorry. But yeah, look, it was just a really good race, good cooperation from everyone, I think. And yeah, it was bloody good fun. Just would have been nice to be on the back of those toy boys at the front.
Well, let's put it this way. Had it not been for the mistake, you were only 18.7 away from them in the end, so it could have been a lot tighter than it was. There's no doubt about that. Of course, we know that Lassif and Alex have provided us with the promo shot for next week with their 1-2 form, finishing the photo, sitting there very nicely at the end of that race. Boys, I'll let you thank some sponsors very shortly, but let's keep chatting here. We've still got about 20 minutes before we're off air. When we go and have a look at the lap traffic, because Sean mentioned the traffic, was it a problem for you guys, Laz and Alex? Because I looked at it and I said, tight little racetrack, limited overtaking opportunities. It works one of two ways. It can be very easy to get through the lap traffic, or it can be very difficult, in which case time lost, position battles end up getting affected, and there's some movers and shakers in amongst all of that. What do you guys make of the traffic? Because by gee, everywhere we looked, there was something happening tonight. It didn't look like it was easy to find a clean bit of real estate.
Well, to be honest, I mean, lap traffic, we knew it was going to be a difficult scenario with this track being so tight and small, and we're going to eventually come into trouble with that, and we did. I mean, a few guys cooperated quite well, and the other guys didn't, and obviously the warning came from race control, which was good, but there was a couple of unsafe rejoin as well from the pits, exit from the pits. Apart from that, I mean, everyone cooperated quite well, apart from a couple of people, but all in all, we just wanted to keep the car clean, and as soon as I got to know that I've had no incident points, I was just trying to preserve that towards the end of the race. It's a valuable 5 points.
Indeed. Now, just quickly, Matt, I'll come to you at this point in time. Must be frustrating for the guys down the order. And the reason I just want to clarify, the reason I'm coming to Matt is because he is playing the role of expert commentator, not because he was down the order compared to these guys. I just wanted to clarify that, because I'm not trying to be insulting. But it must be frustrating if you are down the order. And as you watch the replay here, folks, I'm sure we'll see a couple of these incidents on replay in just a moment. But if you're down the order, you're in the heat of battle, and then you've got to give way for a blue flag, knowing that if you don't, you get a good old drive-through penalty, and race control has some fun with you. But if you do and you give way, it can work in your favour, and it can just as much work against you in terms of the outcome of said battle that you're embroiled in before the lap traffic gets to you.
Yeah, it's the lap traffic does play a big part in it. Especially you're in a mid pack. I think I had a little bit of a battle going on. I think there was a 6-car, 7-car battle there with a couple of teammates and a few of the Dragon RC boys, and I believe I had one of Macca's teammates, Peter Crossingham, behind me. So I was trying to pull away from him and stay with the boys up front, and got caught up with a lapped car coming into turn 3. He just held the inside of the track there, and he's let the boys in front by, and as I've gone to turn in, he sort of had to dive up the inside and continue driving. So it really pushed me wide. It was allowed Petey to come up on the back of me, and then I struggled to shake Petey after that. I started using tyres and trying to get away, and the tyres just fell. And being Oran Park with the elevation change and lighting the rears up nearly every single corner, it really affects the race.
strategy worked quite nicely for you guys tonight. No harm, no foul. We talked last week about Tom Heyman and Rainer Costello pitting on different laps and one strategy working better than the other. But for you guys, you pitted on the same lap as each other. You came out on the track. There was no one that gained or lost their advantage in that pit window. So it just goes to show with every different track, there's a different way to play the pit strategy game, isn't there, Laz? We'll let you answer this one first and then we'll go to Alex.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I played the same strategy that I played last week, and that got me a podium last week. So I thought can't go wrong with that. And yeah, as I said, me and Alex, we were communicating the whole way, and we knew what we were doing, and it worked out quite well.
We'll have a look at the updated championship points a little bit later on tonight, folks, and a look ahead at the races to come. So stick around. Still plenty to come here tonight on SimShed Broadcasting and Real Sim Racing Australasia, and you won't miss a minute of the action. It's been a thrilling third round. The MHD Melbourne Hydrographix Depot, Oran Park 150, the third round of the NCS V8 Super Series here. Let's bring in Sean McNamara back in at this point in time. As I say, probably driver of the night as far as I'm concerned. Started 6th, finished 3rd, but that doesn't tell the whole story when you look at the statistics here, because he was buried down mid to late 20s in the order, as he said there, and fought his way back through. How happy were you, Sean, when the safety car came out there, lap 30, lap 31? Because the speculation going into the race was, if you're pushing every inch of the way, which you would have had to have done coming back through the field there, and you're not in a position to fuel save, it's going to be 2 stops and a splash. The safety car took away the need for the splash and dash at the end, and probably worked in your favour in terms of getting yourself through the field as well as you did.
Yeah, it certainly it helped bunch it up. Fuel numbers wise, saving enough. Got to lap. I think the key was to get to lap 20. And I know Laz and Alex, I'm pretty sure they made it to lap 20 as well. Yep. So yeah, that was certainly the key. So even though I was coming back through the pack, still trying to save a bit of fuel here and there where I could. So I knew that the long game was that some wouldn't save fuel, and there was an opportunity to not take that splash at the end. But yeah, once that safety car came out, it was I had fresh tyres on, and the eyes came on and we were ready to get into it. So it certainly helped make up that big difference there. Just bunched everyone up.
Indeed. Matt, anything else that you want to throw at these guys at the moment, or should we press on to what's ahead beyond Oran Park?
Oh, mate, I reckon we press on to what's ahead of Oran Park. It's an interesting lineup that we've got coming up. So where are we at? We're at Montreal next week, boys. So I know it's a fan favourite of mine. Definitely love Montreal. Didn't get to race it last year in the series, so I unfortunately work called duty. So I've put it in the books for next week to be able to race. But I guess, Laz, we'll start with you. Are you looking forward to Montreal, mate?
I'm definitely looking forward to Montreal, but not the quickest around there. But I've got some work to do because of it.
Alex, your thoughts on Canada?
Yeah, looking forward to it. What do we got? 35 laps, so better than 59, but yeah, it'll be a tough race.
Well, I was gonna say better than 59 for sure, but the circuit is longer. However, the long straights there do work in your favour, no doubt about that. Of course, just that calendar was up on screen there a moment ago, folks. Let's run through it. The next 6 weeks, it's a North American swing. It's a cracking swing as well. Montreal, Sonoma for super sprint racing, so that's 2 for the price of 1. Looking forward to that. Then we get the first event of the Triple Crown, which is Watkins Glen. Then we go back to Sebring, which is a favourite of so many. Then it's on to Mo Sports, so a second stop in Canada. And then to finish off the North American swing, it's Lime Rock Motorsport Park. Now, this will be April 13, and the week after, into Lagos, just to throw South America into the mix. And then we go back to the Charlotte Roval, and then we get a couple of races in the United Kingdom with Donington and Silverstone, then back to Road Atlanta, then back to Europe with Spa, Brands Hatch, and then on to Mount Panorama. So let's get to the North American swing in just a moment, boys. How disappointed are we that Phillip Island does not appear on the calendar this year? We've got 2 Aussie tracks. We don't have the third.
Not at all.
There's always one that's happy. There's always one that's happy. What about you, Laz and Alex?
I'm got it, mate. I'm pretty quick there, so I'm absolutely got it.
I'm
No
stoked
wonder
it's
Sean's
not on
happy.
for that reason. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Alex,
look,
what about you?
yeah, a little bit disappointed. I would have liked to have had a reverse grid race there. I
Yeah, true.
usually do pretty well there with those races.
Just having a look, actually, we've got the Super Sprint format in place for only Sonoma and also for Donington. So 2 chances for some reverse grid action in this championship. And to think we're only 3 weeks into 17, it's going to be a very long championship ahead. Let's get into the championship points and then we'll talk about the next round and what's going on there. There's Lassif Leonage, new points leader, ladies and gentlemen. Not so great night for Cameron Veacock in the end. He came home in 8th. Jacob Brewer was 3rd in the standings at the moment with 2 top 5 finishes to his name. But Laz has been Mr. Consistent. 442 plays, Veacock 424 and 414 for Jacob Brewer. Cameron Jones, interesting night at the office for him, one that he might want to forget, down in 17th, but he sits 4th on 401 points. But Leonard getting away with a 41-point lead or advantage over him at the moment, 18 over his nearest opponent. 397 for Rainer Costello, then Chris Island, 390, 389 for Cruel, 389 if I want to spit my words out properly, for Craig Schultz there. Alex Courts jumped up into the top 10 on 375, Blake Urquhart 370, and Lindsay Hobbs on 361. Over the page, Dean Powell, Alan Dawson, Robert Crisdale, Matt Davis. He's not going too bad despite the fact that he didn't get to the finish tonight. Ben Morris, Chris Barnes, Scott McEwen, Craig Newell and Steve Vella, with Daniel Schultz rounding out the top 20. It continues. David Leslie, Craig Hopkins, Sean McNamara, Jason DiPedito, and then we go back to Brian Cooper, Ash Davis, Ben Siren, Darren Caldwell, Tim Mulford and Peter Crossingham, the top 30. And we'll let that continue scrolling on there for you. Sam Katakazinas, of course, who is also part of the Melbourne Hydrographix depot, if my pre-race notes serve me well. Michael Lee Masuria, we're talking about him a bit tonight. Riley Simons, Bradley Vaughan, Wade Michael, Liam James, Tom Heyman, of course. The one-round win thus far, but he's got bigger fish to fry this weekend. He's running in the real world, not the sim world. Simon Chadwick, David Kirby, who was watching the race from North Queensland tonight. Of course, he's on a vacation, but was trying to organise a sim for Townsville. He wanted to get in contact with anyone with a sim rig in Townsville. No one answered the calls. So David Kirby off the grid at the moment. That's the top 40 in the standings at this point in time. Let's continue the conversation here. As we get further and further into the season, we saw a little bit of it tonight, Sean, particularly with your move there in the end. You were able to grab 2 for the price of 1, getting by Ash Davis and Jacob Brewer. How much do we expect some team tactics and some sportsmanship and some gamesmanship to come into play here as the season rolls on, now that we've got 14 rounds to go?
Oh, look, I think there's always a bit of team support, but we try and keep it fairly clean. If it wasn't for that little 2-for-1 move, I certainly wouldn't have made the pass. And I said to Ash, if you can get me back, go for it, mate. So points are important. Obviously, my round 1 hurt with a DNS. Basically, so drop rounds are going to be critical. But yeah, look, team support's important, and obviously, Alex and Laz are the benchmark at the moment, and it's a benefit for them to be able to work together at the pointy end. But you see it all the way up. Even Rayner was getting on the back of Jacob Brewer there, and Jacob made it easy for him to get by with a bit of pace. I don't think there's team orders as such, but certainly in amongst your own team, if someone's quicker, you're not going to make it hard.
Just on Rainer Costello, Matt, I'm going to come to you before I go back to Lassif and Alex. Difficult night at the office for him. Penalties really hurt on a circuit like Oran Park, and especially when you're not getting safety cars to try and get you back into the game. A bit of a learning curve for the youngster, I'd say.
Yeah. I've been reading the chat. He was a little bit upset with himself, a little bit disappointed. I think just sort of the frustration. He sort of had a little bit of a complaint with race control, but he goes, look, I'll sleep it off tonight, and he'll come back next week bigger and stronger. So big learning curve for him tonight, just to maintain his cool and throughout the race, not get too greedy and try and put the car where it shouldn't go and sort of push people wide and make the moves. So big learning curve for the youngster, and hopefully he comes back next week and can get back on the podium.
Indeed. Alex and Lassif, didn't really matter tonight. Team tactics didn't really factor into your equation and into your game plan because you were at the pointy end of the field and weren't challenged. But how important is it to have someone around you in the midst of the battle in the later rounds of the championship when every point is crucial?
Yeah, very important, I think.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. It's definitely important. I mean, if last season's anything to go by, we finished 1 and 2, and we supported each other all the way. So definitely helps having your teammate right next to you on the grid.
Indeed, that is the case. We've got about 10 minutes here before we need to be off air, boys. Let's just quickly go through those next 6 weeks. And we're talking Montreal, Sonoma, Watkins Glen, Sebring. There's the calendar looking beautiful as always. Mosport and Lime Rock. A good mix of long circuits, short circuits, fast circuits, slow circuits, challenging circuits, technical circuits, but also some really top-notch race tracks. I'll start with Sean. I'll work my way up through Alex and then Laz. What are you looking forward to the most in this 6-week stretch? And then what are you looking forward to the least?
Yeah, look, I think Watkins Glen is pretty much one of everyone's favourite anyway. So really looking forward to get to there. Sebring, not a big fan of. Certainly doesn't really suit my driving style. But yeah, look, Watkins, Montreal, did a lot of laps there last week. So looking forward to do that as well. So there's just some cracking iconic tracks coming up, including tonight. How fun was it to belt around Oran Park? But
exactly.
But yeah, certainly Watkins would be one I cannot wait for, and it's the first Triple Crown race as well. So that's going to be a cracker.
Pressure's going to be on there. In fact, given that it's 28 laps, I'm assuming it's the full circuit at Watkins Glen as well. So that'll be even more of a challenge. Hey, yeah, just looking forward there. Just notice too, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to make note, and JP will make note behind the scenes as well, where it goes from round 7 to round 8, and it goes from 8:30 to 7:30. That should be AEST, Australian Eastern Standard Time, because that's, of course, when the daylight saving debacle concludes for another year. And I say debacle only because Queensland's stuck in the 18th century and everyone else down the East Coast is enjoying it. But yes, Australian Eastern Standard Time from round 8 onwards, right through until the middle of June. So a big season still to come. Laz, Alex, Laz, your thoughts on what's to come, mate? Because by gee, there's some good tracks ahead. There's no doubt about that.
My favorite, one of my favorites will be Mosport. I like Lime Rock Park as well. Sebring is good. There's some really interesting tracks. I think there's tracks to suit every driver on the grid, to be honest. So it's a nice mix of tracks. Looking forward to it.
And one thing I'll say is, I mean, as much as you guys are looking forward to it, Montreal's one of my personal favourites. So I'm really looking forward to next week. We'll bring the big guns for the call next Tuesday night. No doubt about that. Alex, any track there that doesn't suit you, or are you looking forward to the next 6 weeks in the hope of mounting a big challenge as far as this championship is concerned?
Yeah, look, as far as tracks go, yeah, looking forward to pretty much all of them. Charlotte Roval, I don't know who voted for that to be in the calendar. Brands Hatch is another one I'm not too sure on. Lime Rock should be interesting. I got my first win there. I think it was in 2.
I think I finished second there.
You did, behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look, like I said, yeah, pretty much all of them apart from Roval and Brands Hatch.
Indeed. Matt, as someone that's an onlooker on a Wednesday night calling the action, and as someone that's driving, what are you looking forward to the most?
Commentating the GAC series for the up and coming rounds, to be honest.
Yep.
That's actually, I'm having a lot of fun doing that at the moment. The boys are providing some amazing action. So, yeah, don't forget to tune in tomorrow night from 8:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Times for those boys to hit it up. But yeah, look, Montreal, I didn't get to race, so really want to race against the boys there this season. One of my favourite tracks. Love going around there. Definitely love the chicanes. One thing I'm fairly strong at in my eyes is the chicanes. Lime Rock, yes and no. Very small track again. So you're gonna have a lot of cars beating around that track, so it's going to get congested, and qualifying is going to be a real pain there. So Charlotte,
That's
let's
true.
spin that straight away. No one loves Charlotte.
Oh, the honesty comes out after 10 o'clock, doesn't it, folks? Have a listen to this.
Yeah, no, it definitely
This is
does. So
brilliant.
you wanted the driver's point of view. Well, Zach,
Exactly.
you're getting it, mate.
100%. I know.
So,
This is what it's
but
all
looking
about. I
forward.
like a little bit of controversy, a little bit of politics that I can play with in the weeks ahead. It's good.
Yeah, no, it's good. So now look, there's a few good tracks coming up. As Macca said, Watkins Glen. It's no doubt, in fact, it's everyone's favourite track. Being the full track with the dog leg as well. That's really going to throw it into the mix. I know a few people don't like it, but it's still a favourite track for the first part. So, yeah, it'd be good to get around there and rub some panels with the boys and hopefully, start coming up there with, Alex, Laz and Macca and that and start rubbing some panels with them and start giving them a fight.
Hey, yeah, nice one. You just saw it on the screen there. How quick does our graphics department work? They've fixed that up swiftly. Look at that. Beautiful
Mate,
stuff.
JP is onto it.
He's certainly onto it. 35 laps next week, so looking forward to that around the 4+ kilometre Montreal circuit there in Canada, and looking forward to having you with us 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time for all of that. There are a couple of other circuits we haven't mentioned yet, but they're much further down the season. Of course, we all look forward to the Mount Panorama 250, which is coming up at the end of, in the middle of June, the end of the season. Can I just say, 41 laps is 250 kilometres in a memo to Supercars, who are promoting a 500 this week, but giving you a 497. Let's just put that one on the table right now. Fair dinkum. Give yourself an uppercut, please. Let's finish this one now that I've had me spray for the night. Matt, some final analysis from you in the greater scheme of things. NTS, we knew they'd fire eventually. Laz has been there, of course, last week. He was on the podium. This week, 1 and 2. They're a formidable force, and on their night, they're very tough to beat. They sent a message to the competition tonight, and no doubt the competition has taken note.
Yeah, no, Laz and Alex have definitely got the target on their backs now, boys. So watch out for the runners behind you, because they're going to be coming after you. But no, look, they've really set the pace. Laz set the pace, and Alex set the pace last season as well. So I mean, those boys do a fantastic job behind the wheel. They just know how to steer the cars around there. So I can't fault them. I struggle to catch them and keep up with them. So they're doing something right that I'm not. So I might have to shotgun with them a couple times, I think, just get a few little
take some tips. That's it.
Few tips. But I mean, look, Zach, we've got a couple minutes left, so why don't we start with Macca, our third place sitter, and get the sponsors out of the way.
That's a very good call. Go for it, Sean. All yours, mate. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So, shout out to, of course, our amazing sponsors, SRT Australia, RaceKraft Simulations, Racing Ears Custom Ears Protection, RSW Graphics, AD 3D Printing Services, and Cutting Edge Tracks Australia. So thanks to all those guys for their ongoing support.
We'll go to Alex now as the second place finisher. Surely there's a few people you want to thank, and then, Laz, you can take over straight from there, mate, as the winner tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank teammates for all their help this week. Sponsors, I'll start off with Racing with Autism Australia and All Sorts of Disability Services, a couple of personal sponsors. Then we've got SimShed Broadcasting, Nationwide Tracking System, Goodyear Auto Care Warana, Dragon RC, DSL Welding, Brutzy Zimware Australia, VR Cover, Cars for Hope, and Blue Stampede Labour.
Laz, bring us home, mate.
Yeah, mate, thank you. Yeah, definitely SimShed Broadcasting, Nationwide Tracking Systems, Goodyear Auto Care Warana, Dragon RC, DSL Welding Services, Brutzy Australia, VR Covers, Cars for Hope, Racing for Autism Australia, Blue Stampede Labour Hire, and you guys as well doing a fantastic job with the commentary, and everyone else in the background as well, JP and all the buddies in JPSS as well. Thanks to everyone.
nicely said. And from our standpoint, also, we should say a big thanks to all the team behind the scenes in race control too, because it doesn't happen without those guys. And nice segue from Matt, because no sooner did he prompt the drivers into thanking their sponsors, I thought it's probably a good idea that we thank our broadcast partners as well here. I had the list ready to rock and roll. Nationwide Tracking Systems, of course, our major sponsor. We couldn't do it without them. RaceKraft Simulations and Blue Stampede Labour Hire are co-naming rights sponsors, of course. The round sponsor tonight was Melbourne Hydrographix Depot. And, of course, also we need to thank Track Cams for Gourmet and all of our other sponsors throughout the season, Abruzzi, Dragon RC, TJM Parramatta, and Hybrid Racing Simulations. So that's then is that. Matt, give us I know we're just a little bit over time here, but the race ran a little bit longer than the others, so that's okay. Give us a little bit of a synopsis of what to look forward to tomorrow night. Who's the form team, who's the form drivers, and who might spring a surprise?
Oh, you're pushing the memory bank here, Zach, at this time of night. But
you're welcome.
And it'd have to be Laz's son, mate. I'm on the bandwagon here. Rian Lena, he's making a move at such a young age to come and show some of the boys who are 4 or 5 times his age. Yeah, definitely rooting for him tomorrow night. But I mean, the boys are really, like I said earlier, showing some amazing racecraft. They're racing on track temps similar to us boys here in the SuperSeries, if not hotter. So to throw, as we all know, and Alex, Laz, Sean, they'll all tell you, to throw the 650 horsepower supercar around a hot track with tyres that are well worn, it's not fun.
I agree with you 100%. Laz, Alex, Sean, any final thoughts from you before we let you go?
Look, I'll just quickly jump in, and I just want to say thanks to my boys. We had 3 cars in top 10 tonight. Ash Davis, best result he's ever had. But watch out, GAC tomorrow night. It is going to be a cracking race. I've got a little bit of money on Sam Noble. Just throwing that out there, boys.
Well, since we're taking bets here, Laz, Alex, who have you got money on if you're watching?
I'm going to go with young Rahan. My money's on him.
I'll be sitting on the side and supporting him, mate. So 100%.
No, that's low, mate. Hey, and while I've got you here, Laz, surely you're going to be his crew chief on those races. We keep saying it in the broadcast between Aiden and I. Are you sitting there, sort of guiding him through the races? Like, what's your sort of tactic with Rehan there in the race?
I'm mostly helping him with the fuel, and in certain situations, trying to help him place the car in the right position to defend and things like that. But he's got a natural talent, so I'm just nurturing it and see where it takes it.
Mate, he does have a natural talent, and fingers crossed, Laz, he jumps up into to the big boy league and joins yourself and Alex in the Super Series. So look, but we are out of time. So Zach, I'm going to hand over to you to see us out, mate. But Alex, Laz, well done tonight on the 1-2, and I'll see you out on track next week at Montreal.
Thanks very much, guys.
Very nicely done from all of you, and thanks to Sean McNamara, who was here as well. And just quickly, if you're in the Leonage household, you kind of got your fingers crossed after what Matt just hinted at there, that there's 2 sim rigs, otherwise someone's in for some expensive shopping in the not too distant future. Looking ahead for you as far as SimShed Broadcasting is concerned. Coming up tomorrow night, Matt, of course, has been promoting the hell out of it for the last few minutes here. It is the Goodyear Autocare Arana T2 VAD series, and of course he will be in the commentary booth with our good mate Aidan Schultz for all the action. 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time, back here at one of the great tracks of the virtual world now that it's no longer with us in the real thing. It's of course Oran Park Raceway, 45k southwest of Sydney, there in the lovely part of the world that is Narellan. Friday night, come and join me and a couple of others, Paul Nichols, Nick Vodiatis, Chris Kisby, for Gentleman Sim Racing Club action. Also here on SimShed Broadcasting, we had Freaky Friday first up. Not sure the car and combination track combo just yet, but we'll find out before we go on air on Friday night. And then, of course, that'll be followed by round 5, the halfway mark of the Road to Indy series for Sharp Extensive IT and Motor Focus. That'll be coming your way from Sonoma Raceway in California. So looking forward to that. And as we've been previewing for the last short while, round 4 of the NCS V8 Super Series heads to Montreal in Canada. First trip to Canada for the season, not the last. Of course, Motorsport coming up in a few weeks as well. But that is coming up Tuesday, the 2nd of March, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Looking forward to that immensely. Thanks so much for your company tonight. Ripper job from JP behind the director's chair, as always, in the hot seat from behind the panel there. He did a great job, as per usual. Thanks to Matt Davis for his help in commentary. Sadly, things didn't go to plan on track, but we're glad that he came and spent the hour or so with us that he did in the booth. My thanks to Chris Kisby as well for his expert comments throughout the course of the evening. Really hope you've enjoyed our coverage. Third different winner in as many races. By G, it's competitive at the top. It's going to be a lot of fun going forward to see not just if one of these guys that has already grabbed a race win this season can cement any sort of dominance going forward, but how many names might be added to that race winners list as we move towards Mount Panorama in 14 weeks' time. Rice of Leonard's getting the job done from Alex Court and Sean McNamara tonight in an absolute thriller from Oran Park in Sydney. As we leave you, we do so with the knowledge that the Strepsils company will be getting some business from me tomorrow before I go and commentate elsewhere tomorrow night. And we look forward to your company on SimShed Broadcasting tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time, when the Goodyear Auto Care Arana T2 V8E Series heats up once more. And we look forward to your company on Friday and then next Tuesday night for the continuation of the NCS series. Until then, I'm Zach Cabin on behalf of Matt Davis, Chris Kisby, and the team. Thank you and goodbye for now.